Okay, working with some beef cheeks. Beef cheek tacos, that's what I'm going for with these cheeks here. If you've never had a beef cheek, they are delicious. I will compare it to a brisket. You're just going to get a bit more beefy flavor to these. They could be pretty pungent, but they're delicious. So I didn't want to bore you. I've already trimmed one down. You can see this is another one that needs a bit more trimming. If you do not trim all this off, you're going to have a hard time chewing these beef cheeks, even if you get them tender. You got to get rid of all this the silver skin, this extra fat that's not needed. Here's one that I've already cleaned up. We're going to smoke this at 225 degrees till that internal temperature hits about 165, 175. Then you're going to want to wrap it with liquid. The liquid is what's going to break it down and get this tender, because beef cheeks need work. You can see every tendon running through it. This is a pretty strong muscle, so you definitely want to break that down. But when it gets wrapped, I'll bump the Traeger up to 275, finish it off like that, and then it'll get pulled, probably 205 degrees or so on the internal temperature. Just go probe tender, and you'll be good to go, and they'll be able to shred. But you definitely want to trim all this excess off. And this stuff is like leather, so you definitely need a sharp knife. Get all this off, and you can see you want to expose that meat, just like I did on this one already. But you can see how much further this one needs to go. So I won't bore you with that. I'm going to get this all trimmed up. We'll come back and get them seasoned. I'll get the Traeger preheated to 225, and we'll be back. Okay, time to season the beef cheeks. I've already got a couple seasoned, so just wanted to show you. I've got the hardcore carnivore red on these. You want to go nice and thick with the seasoning. I'll let these sweat out once I'm done seasoning for about 30 minutes or so. And we'll get the Traeger up to temperature to 225 and just start smoking these bad boys. Move it around. Get all the sides, like so, and there we go. Let's get them on. All right, the sun is coming up, so we're at 225 degrees. We got the cheeks. Now we're just gonna get them on. Give them a few hours before we need to check on them again. And we're shooting for that internal temp about 165, 175 before we wrap it. All right, let's close it. All right, we're gonna check the internal temperature of these beef cheeks. So, been about 2 hours at 225 degrees. Let's see. So, we still got about at least 15 degrees to go on these before we wrap them. So, they're looking good. Close it back up, we'll be back. All right, so 170 internal. You can see there's the beef cheek. We're gonna get them in this one pan here. They're all about the same internal, so now we just need to steam them. So we gotta get them tender. So we're gonna get some beef broth in there. That way we can steam them. We'll add a little to them. I'm gonna turn the Traeger up to 275. That should be good. Traeger up to 275, and then we'll get them back on. Let me take this glove off and we'll get some more rub put on there and then get it covered up. Okay, so I just want to grab some more of this rub and we'll get some of that into this broth. Add a little bit more flavor and we'll get this covered up. 275 on the Traeger until these are probe tender. So they will go past 200 degrees internal. All right, here's the finished product on the beef cheeks. So let's run through it real quick. 225 degrees on the Traeger for 3 hours. The internal temp of this, look at the pillow, we hit about 165 and like 170 in that one. So at that point, I want to wrap it. The foil pan is always best. I put about 2 cups of beef broth. Choose whatever liquid you want, but you need liquid in there because you want to break that down. Cover it tightly with foil. I put the Traeger at 275 for another 2 hours, and here we go. These have rested for about 30 minutes, and you can see that is not gonna suck in a taco. Beef cheek tacos. Look at that. You can see the smoke ring, the flavor, and the beef cheeks are gelatinous. So once you mix all this together, it's just an awesome, awesome bite. So throw that on a taco, burrito, whatever. But there we go. Beef cheeks. Just a quick overview of that shredded beef cheek. You can see just how tender, gelatinous, tasty that beef cheek is after 5 hours on the Traeger. Bark, smoke ring. Here we go. Cut it with a spoon. Didn't even need the knife.